Hey everybody, and thanks for joining me. My name is Gene Marks. I'm really thrilled that you're here with me to watch this pre-recorded presentation I'm going to be giving to you guys about all the things that you should be doing as business owners, employers, managers, leaders to attract and retain the right employees. It's not a big issue, right? I mean, you got plenty of employees. You're all good, no unfilled jobs, it's all fine, right? Obviously not. It is the #1 issue that's facing all of us as business owners and my clients and my readers. This is the big issue that is tracking us around. So what I want to do is I want to share with you what smart business owners and managers are doing in 2021 to attract and retain the best employees possible. Now, I'm a CPA, I run a consulting firm outside of Philadelphia, but I also do a lot of writing. So I write every week for The Guardian, I write for The Hill, I write for The Washington Times, The Philadelphia Inquirer, Forbes, and Entrepreneur. So I speak to a lot of business owners like myself and like you about what's going on in the world. So none of the stuff that I'm going to share with you is anything I've created or come up with on my own because I'm just not that smart. What I'm going to share with you is what other people are doing, smarter than me. I am your vessel of information so you can see what America's small business owners are up to in 2021 as they compete and fight and battle for those best employees for their businesses. That's what I'm going to share with you. Now, I have a lot of information in this presentation, so I'm sure if you're watching this, maybe it's too fast to get a hold of it all. You can certainly go back and replay some of it. But if you want to email me at gene@marksgroup.net, I am more than happy to send you a full PDF of this entire presentation. So don't worry about it. If you can't get all the information, I can get it over to you. Just send me an email, all right? So we're ready to go. Let's go. We're going to cover it all. Let's start actually in Washington. Now, as I'm recording this today, we're at the end of September. Just a week or two ago, President Biden, announced his 6-point plan to get more people vaccinated in this country. So politics aside, all that stuff aside, I want to make sure that you're aware of this because this impacts how you are managing your employees and also impacts how you're recruiting new employees as well. Now, this 6-part plan, if you can see this, is really a bunch of things, some of them related to employers and some of them not related to employers. I'm not going to spend anything on items 2 through 6. I'm going to focus on the very top one, which is about vaccinating the unvaccinated and what employers need to do, what you need to do to get your employees either vaccinated or tested to make sure that you're in compliance with these rules. Now, the rules themselves are going to be coming from, if they haven't already, from OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They are going to be coming out, or maybe they've already released these specific rules that you as an employer need to follow. Now, again, not talking politics here. These are just what the rules are that you need to know. Now, rule number 1 is this. If you've got more than 100 employees, you have a choice. You can either get documentation and require that your employees get vaccinated and look for documentation that they are, or you have to make sure that they are getting weekly tested and showing that proof. If not, then you as an employer will be subject to fines. So that's what the rule is. Number 2, if you have employees that need to take time off to get vaccinated, you are required to give them that time off. Now, be aware there is a very generous tax credit available for you as an employer that will reimburse you for giving them the time off. It's called the Families First Coronavirus Response Act credit, which basically means if an employee needs to take time off to get vaccinated, or even if for a family member to get vaccinated, or if they are they have a reaction to a vaccination, whatever time off they take, you keep them, you pay them for the time off, but then you can apply for this tax credit, which you can get against your payroll taxes to basically reimburse you for the cost of that time off. And finally, if your business is doing any business with the federal government, you are required to have all of your employees vaccinated, or you will not be able to perform whatever services or sell any products under that government contract. Now, I get it. There's a lot of legalities here. This is probably going to be challenged in the courts. I know there is questions about how to enforce it. I get it. But the bottom line is these are what the rules are. Now, we are talking about attracting and retaining employees, and one thing I do want you to keep in mind is that a lot of workers, a lot of prospective workers that are out there do have concerns about the health and safety of the companies that they're going to be working for. So you can look at this as somewhat of a recruiting tool. So as you are talking to new workers, you can be saying to them, we are fully in compliance with the president's vaccination plan. I want you to know if you come and work for us, we operate a very safe workplace and you're doing what the government is telling us to do. That could certainly work in your favor if you are recruiting employees. And the same thing with retaining existing employees. But regardless, this is what the rules are, and you have to make sure that you are in compliance. Now, while we're in Washington, let's talk a little more about what's going on in Washington. Not sure if you know who this guy is. This guy is Marty Walsh. He is our Secretary of Labor. He was a former mayor of Boston, and for years was very active and president, actually, of a local unions group in the Boston area. Marty Walsh is now our Secretary of Labor, and the Labor Department is definitely leaning more towards pro-worker, and Secretary Walsh is looking to get through certain reforms, legislation, and rules that will benefit workers. And I think you, as employers, me and you, we need to be aware of what these rules are. 4 big things that you're going to see coming from this Labor Department in the next year or so that you should be aware of. One is a continuing effort to increase the minimum wage. Now, the minimum wage fight lost its battle earlier this year in Congress. The House of Representatives did vote to try and increase it to $15 an hour nationally, did not make it through the Senate. Many states, cities, localities have $15 an hour minimum wage. In fact, the New York Times reported recently that most workers in this country, a great majority of them, are being paid $15 an hour or more. So that's all really good news. But at the same time, there are a lot of states that still have a much lower minimum wage, particularly one that's the federal minimum wage, which is $7.25 an hour. I can tell you from the congressmen and the senators that I speak to, there is support for increasing the national minimum wage to as high as $15 an hour. And I think there is a very good chance of this happening before the midterm elections. If it does, the targeted minimum wage that I'm hearing is about $11 to $12 an hour. Maybe you're already paying your people more than $11 to $12 an hour. Good for you. But just be aware, if the minimum wage goes up to as much as $12 an hour, you're paying somebody $16 or $17 an hour. What is that person going to say when an entry-level person comes in only making a few bucks less an hour than them, particularly if this worker's got some experience? They're going to be like, hey, man, we deserve a raise too. So an increase in the national minimum wage will have an upward pressure on all wages. So you have to pay special attention to that you are budgeting for that going forward. Number 2, I am looking for the Department of Labor to be increasing overtime wages sometime in the next year. Right now, if you have a worker that's a salaried worker, not supervising anybody, maybe they're in their warehouse, maybe they're in your office, and you're paying them $36,000 a year, you're not required to pay them overtime. The Labor Department, I'm expecting, is going to be increasing that to $47,000 a year. That's what was originally approved under the Obama administration, but it didn't get far enough to actually go into actual live enactment. But I expect to see that sometime in the next year or so, and because of that, means that if you have any workers that are making up to that level, that you are going to have to budget for overtime pay for them. Number 3, the PRO Act, which is legislation supported by the President, supported by the Department of Labor, based on legislation that passed in the state of California, has 2 impacts on employees around the country. This PRO Act did not pass Congress when it was originally, but it passed the House, does not have really much of a chance of passing the Senate. But pieces of this PRO Act are going to be used by the National Labor Relations Board and by the Department of Labor to change some things that might impact your business. For example, if your business might be subject to unionization, there is going to be some more rulings from the National Labor Relations Board over the next couple of years that will make it easier for unions to market to your existing employees, to have on-site unionization events, to even call a vote for unionization within just a few weeks, even before you could prepare to defend against it. So be aware that there will be more activity on the union front over the next couple of years. Number 2 is worker classification. Now in California, if you have workers working for you under their similar act and they are an independent contractor, say they're a truck driver or a software developer or a marketing person or whatever, and you're billing them out to a customer. So whatever services they're performing for you, you're turning around and using them as revenue for your business. That worker in California would have to be classified as an employee, even though they're an independent contractor. So the PRO Act looked to do the same thing. Again, the PRO Act probably won't pass Congress, but the Department of Labor is looking at these worker classification rules to make it harder for us to classify those independent contractors as freelancers and make it such that we would have to bring them onto our payrolls as employees, pay benefits, pay employer taxes, all of that kind of stuff. So that's another thing that could be coming down the line. And finally, I mentioned OSHA before with President Biden's actions towards COVID, but OSHA itself has just received a big increase in their budget for this year, and they're going to be working on other workplace and safety rules that are going to be impacting your business. Now, the big question is, what do you do? What actions should you be taking right now? Well, let me share with you a few of those actions, okay? First of all, even as I'm speaking now, and again, I don't know if you're watching this recording, the OSHA rules are in effect or not, but you either have to prepare or you have to make sure that you're in compliance with these new OSHA vaccination and testing rules. Otherwise, you're going to face some significant fines if you're not. Number two, my recommendation is to be budgeting for at least 4% salary increases over the next year. This number comes from HR firm Korn Ferry, but other national firms are agreeing with that as well. Inflation, that's a whole other issue that I'm not discussing in here, but hourly wages themselves have gone up about 4% in just this past year, and I'm looking for overall compensation to be at least 4% increase through into 2022 and probably into 2023. So you need to make sure you are budgeting for those increases for next year. Number three, you need to reassess your overtime workers. If you have any overtime workers that are making less than $47,000 a year, these are salaried workers, not supervising anybody, and you think that they may be subject to these overtime rules, first of all, talk to a labor attorney or your accountant, but you need to reassess them. Should you be paying them a little bit more over the limit? Should you convert them to hourly workers? Should you have more enforcement over the amount of time that they're spending during the day so they're not working overtime? All of those things need to be taken into consideration. You need to review your safety. My recommendation to you is to talk to your insurance company. Have them come in and do a walkthrough of your entire place, your facility, look for any safety or liability issues. They will help you. They can recommend consultants or do it for you to make sure that you are in compliance with any new OSHA rules that might be coming down the line. Just remember, your insurance company don't want you to be not in compliance either. They don't want any liabilities that have to be paid out, so they will work along with you to make sure that you are within those same guidelines. Get outside HR consulting help. Why do I say about getting outside help? Well, just in the past few years, all of these issues have come up to place that have been affecting businesses of all sizes around the country. And listen, come on, you're like me. We don't know all the rules. We're not HR experts. We're trying to do what's best for our employees. But what are our drug policies? Does marijuana count anymore? Are we going to require that people get drug tested anymore? Some large companies like Amazon, for example, have recently announced that they're readdressing their drug policies and reducing some of those requirements in order to attract more employees. How about Me Too? Is there any harassment or any type of events like that in your office? What's your process for handling those complaints? What about training for your existing management and employees to avoid this kind of thing? Gender issues. Do you have a gender-neutral bathroom? Age, disability, pregnancy discrimination. Do you treat everyone the same? And does your employee handbook say that? Equal pay. Are you asking about salary history? You really shouldn't be in most cases, and a lot of places it's against the law to ask what somebody made in the past, because sometimes you ask what a prior salary history is and then you base their current salary based on it. But there, for example, women are known, shows the data, have made less than men historically. So why would you base a salary off of a lower starting point? It should be done based on market. And even social media. Are you limiting your employees' freedom of speech? Do you have rules as to how they can behave on their own social media accounts, particularly when they're talking about your company, let alone your company's social media accounts? there's no right or wrong answer in all of this, but you have to protect yourself. You need to have policies. You need to have a good, strong handbook that backs up what these policies are. And by the way, this is how you run a good workplace in 2021. These are the kinds of rules and policies that younger workers in particular, these are what they expect when they come to work for you. And these are the kinds of things that you can talk about when you are attracting those workers to your company, let alone retaining the good people working there. So you can't know it all. So my advice to you, get HR help. My best clients are going out and hiring outside HR consultants. It costs a few $1,000s, but the return on investment is significant. So it is absolutely something you should be considering. Finally, investing in technologies. I have been writing about this on all the places I write. I've been writing in Forbes, I've been writing in The Hill, I've been writing in The Guardian, and I'm going to keep writing about how automation and robotics and other technologies are replacing workers. Those companies aren't going to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you that they are doing the jobs of workers. And let me give you some examples. I have numerous clients that use autonomous robotic carriers around their warehouse to move products around instead of somebody on a forklift doing them which saves a lot of salary and compensation. I have other clients that are using inexpensive drones in their warehouse to lift packages to different levels, to do inventory checks and safety checks as well, also saving time from an individual to do it. This drone that you see right here behind me, it's about 10 or 15 grand. When you think about the amount of time an employee spends doing this over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, you can really see the return on investment. I have clients that are in the assembly, warehouse, distribution industry that are buying robotic arms. These things from Miso Robotics are anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, and with a little bit of programming, they can box up things or take things apart, make sure things are wrapped, ready for shipping, all doing the work that line workers would be doing. This is called the Stretch from Boston Dynamics. It is a $75,000 robot that not only packs, it unpacks, it moves boxes around, it moves entire pallets around as well. Plus, can send back information about what inventory levels are and safety issues too. Now, you might say $75,000 is a lot, but there are companies right now that I've written about that have numerous ones of these that can all be remote controlled by one worker. So you've got one person that's got 5 or 6 of these under their command instead of 5 or 6 or 7 employees doing the same work. Now, don't you think that $75,000 has a good return on investment? And by the way, this robot requires no health insurance and no vacation. So robotics, all those kinds of things, technologies, really, really important. So we've learned so far about keeping our employment costs under control, right? First of all, businesses with more than 100 employees should be preparing now for the impact of Biden's COVID vaccination mandates. And number 2, minimum wage, overtime costs, these are increasing. There are new regulations on independent contractors, unionization, workplace safety, these are coming as well. So we have to be taking these actions to make sure that we are prepared for them. Okay? So those are my thoughts on actual strategies for controlling compensation and what you should do. Let's turn a little bit to recruiting now, okay? And what I have found in life is that when it comes to any problem that you might have or any challenge that you have, like finding good people, there's never really one good answer that solves that problem. It's always a combination of stuff. So I'm not going to come here and tell you like, yeah, you should go to this place because that's where all the employees are. That's just not the case. All I can do is just share with you what my clients and what my readers, what my followers are doing that run businesses, where they are finding people. So let me share with you a few of those things, okay? The number one place that small and mid-sized businesses find employees is from their own employees, or from their family, or from their neighbors. They're asking, but generally it's from their own employees. And what better reference can you get than somebody who you trust that's been working for you for a while that says, hey, I've got a neighbor or a friend or a family member that could come and work for us as well. That's why it is the number one resource. So if you're looking for people, you should be asking your existing employees, do you know anybody that we can get in here to help us with this job or that job? That's number one. Of course, there's all the online portals. We're familiar with them. The most popular ones out there are LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed, as well as Career Builder. Those are like the main ones out there. But I've got plenty of clients that have had good success on Craigslist as well, if you're looking to hire someone from there. The sites like ZipRecruiter, if I just give a plug for them, not that I work for them, but they're more of an aggregator, so you can advertise on a bunch of different sites and it will aggregate all the responses back to you in one way. But LinkedIn is also a very, very strong choice among most employers and something that you may certainly want to consider, okay? Professional groups are another very popular choice to go to find people. What I mean by professional groups, I mean by if you're looking for an accountant in your business or a controller, go to your state CPA society. If you're looking for an office manager or an HR person, go to the Society for Human Resource Executives. I mean, all these, right? So all the different professional groups, there's professional groups for purchasing managers, there's professional groups for consultants, there's professional groups for marketing managers, professional groups for warehouse managers. Look for those professional groups that represent employees, right, that want to be better at their jobs. Go to them and see if they've got any recommendations for people that might be looking for work. It is another really good resource of people. In addition to that, there are industry associations. So hopefully you belong to an industry association. As you know, there are thousands of them around the US, and most of the clients that I know belong to such associations. Well, you're looking for employees, you go to your industry association, you go to them with that problem. Many of them have career sites, many of them have contacts, networking abilities, a way to connect you with potential employees for your business. Here's one that I thought was very interesting. I just wrote about this for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I interviewed a guy from Temple University, and he says, hey, when I'm looking for people or I'm recommending people for the businesses we work with, we go to faith-based organizations. We go to churches and synagogues and mosques in the area or in your neighborhood or anywhere within the region. You reach out to them because who knows better who in their community is in need of work or is looking for jobs than an actual faith-based organization. So be reaching out to your local churches, your local mosques, your local synagogues. Could be a really good resource for you to find that next employee. Of course, colleges, trade schools, even high schools have vocational programs. You know, good side of that is that they are set up and they're trying to get their students out there. On the negative, you know, for colleges, you've got, you know, but trade schools as well, you get like very young, you know, young people, so it's more like a entry-level position, but a good place to find people for entry level. High school is even before that, so most of the companies I know that have had some success with the high school level, they've invested a lot of time and effort in doing that. They have internships, they go out to the schools and do presentations, they bring high school kids to their companies and give them tours, show them what they're all about. This is not something, particularly on the high school level, that just happens overnight. It's usually a long-term program to try and nurture and develop future employees for your business. But certainly if you're willing to invest in that and have a long-term outlook, it's a good resource for employees. There's state and federal job sites as well. So I'm talking to you from Philly. The state of Pennsylvania has got a whole employment resources site. The federal government, particularly on the Department of Labor, also. So if you look for, you know, and you Google for your state and jobs and employment, the same thing with your federal side, you'll find some opportunities there. These are all different places. And finally, there's social media. Now that depends on the demographic that you're looking for, but if you go on Instagram or you go on TikTok, even if you go on Snapchat, you might very well see, because I see it all the time, larger brands that are advertising for employees on those social media sites. You can target to geographic areas, you can target to certain demographics, target to what their potential backgrounds are as well, and then feed ads to those potential users. And there are billions of users that are on all three of those social media sites. And also, if it's good enough for McDonald's and Staples and some of the other, and Amazon and Walmart, it could be good for your business as well. So these are all the different places. Again, like I said, in life, there's never one silver bullet that solves a problem. There's always a multiple of different things that you can do to solve a problem. And here's some options for you, okay? Now, besides finding people, and finally, there's canvassing. Let's talk about some of the other online technologies that are out there that might be of interest to you in the recruiting process. And some of these not only apply right now, but some of them are coming down the line. So the first are technologies that help you evaluate prospective employees. So these three, HireVue, Maya, Convey IQ, these are three platforms that will help you evaluate. Now they're super creepy. They're not as expensive as you think, but they use artificial intelligence. And here's how some of the larger brands are using them. I'll use HireVue as an example. When a prospective employee is looking to get a job at some larger brand that's using HireVue, that employee will be made to go through an interview conducted by a robot on HireVue where they're answering questions during this interview, independent before they even get considered for the job. HireVue, like Maya and Convey IQ, uses artificial intelligence to look at their facial expressions, their eye movements, their tone of voice, their overall look, as well as the answers to their questions. And then these applications give you sort of an evaluation of how the employee did. It's super creepy. And I'm not saying that you are going to base your entire hiring decision on one of these things, but they do act as sort of a qualification tool. And one thing that I think is important about these applications, they do their best, better than humans, to remove bias from the process. So people are seeing other people of a certain gender, culture, religion, whatever the case might be. Computers don't care about that stuff. So they remove that stuff from the conversation and can help those good employees get further along down the line than if they met a potential interviewer that had some type of built-in bias. So these are good technologies that are not only in use, but also coming for smaller businesses to use. These are technologies to help you test prospective employees. OneScore, eSkill, and Vervo are all applications that will help you, create and design your own tests specific to the job. There's also a bunch of standardized tests they can take to make sure that they are qualified for the job as well. And finally, when you're doing your recruiting, there's all the popular sites to do comparatives for salaries and benefits. So if you're going to be making an offer to somebody of a certain level and a certain title, please, for goodness sake, look at all the comparative research that's provided to you on Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, and LinkedIn Jobs, so you can make sure that the offer that you're going to do and whether or not you can afford this person, let alone, is in your ballpark. You want to make sure that you've got the data to do just that. So those are all the technologies. Finally, there's background checking. So if you look at TruthFinder and Intellius are two very, very good background checking applications, and because of them, they can be used to do background checking for any of your prospective employees. Okay, so we've talked about the technologies. We've talked about where to go to find good employees as well. Let me share with you some of the benefits that are out there that employees are asking for in 2021. These are the hot benefits this year. Now, I'm not saying you want to use all of them or any of them, but I am telling you right now, as employees are getting back to the workforce after COVID, some of the stimulus, some of the federal stuff is running out or whatever, people are coming back in, you're going to be competing for these people. And this is what the best employers that I talk to, this is the kind of stuff that they are offering, and you've got to be considering these as well. Now, first of all, there's healthcare. Everybody's got to have a health plan. Your business should have a health plan too. However, you might not have a health plan. You might be looking for other alternatives, and for that, I say consider HSAs or HRAs. So first, let me talk to you about healthcare savings accounts. HSAs are combined with a high deductible plan, if you have one in place, and they act as a 401k for healthcare. You can put money away, your employees can put money away pre-tax, then they can use that money to put money use it for whatever they want to use it for unreimbursed medical expenses. If the employee leaves, they own it. So the HSA, the funds itself, they can travel with the employees as well. So it's one of those sort of systems that it's a great sort of 401k plan for you. Now that's compared to flexible savings accounts. Flexible savings accounts also require a high deductible plan, but these are owned by the employer. Okay, so these accounts themselves are ones that are valuable to both the employees and the employer, something that should be considered. Now, in addition to flex accounts and HSAs, you also want to consider HRAs. HRAs are healthcare reimbursement accounts. And an HRA is an account that you can put money away pre-tax, and then basically the employee can take the money out and use it for whatever purpose they want. If they want to buy health insurance, say from the Obamacare exchanges or from another resource. So it really is an opportunity. Even if you don't have a healthcare plan, you can be like, hey, we have a really generous HRA plan, and we're giving you, the employee, the choice to spend the money any way you want. Now, if you don't, if you've got a small employer, or if you're just on your own, like you're just an individual or a contractor, you could set up your own HRA as well. It's called an individual coverage HRA. So it doesn't just apply to people employing employees, it can also apply to people that are freelancers or on their own as well. So HRAs, a great benefit to offer. So with healthcare, you want to make sure that you're providing, these are hot this year, these are popular among employees, this is what they're looking for. So there's something that you want to definitely consider, making sure that you are offering, because you want to attract those good employees. So healthcare is number one. Number two, retirement. Now, at the end of 2019, Congress passed what's known as the Secure Act. The Secure Act got overshadowed because COVID happened just a couple of months later. But it has some huge benefits for employers that you need to know about. Number one, if you don't have a 401k account in place, you can set one up, and the Secure Act now will allow that you can get reimbursed for up to $15,000 over 3 years just by providing that 401k, just creating it out of scratch. If you already have a 401k account, make it automatic enrollment, because if you make it automatic enrollment, then whatever employees enroll for it, they can always opt out, but you'll get a $1,500 tax credit over 3 years just by making those small changes to your retirement account. So if you don't have a retirement account, get one set up. The government will pay you through tax credits to get it set up. If you already have a 401k plan, change the terms so it's automatic enrollment, and when that happens, your employees themselves will be able to, you'll get a tax credit for it, and they can always opt out if need be. While I'm on the subject of retirement, just remember, your existing 401k plans, you can put up to $56,000. That's between the company and the individual employee. And again, you get that $500 3-year credit for setting up a 401k plan, changing the the terms of it to automatic enrollment. If you are on your own, you want to set up a personal IRA, you can do that as well, in addition to what you've got put away for your 401k. If you're a very, very small business, you want to talk to your accountant or financial advisor about a SEP IRA. Here, it's limited in total compensation to $280,000, but it's the same maximum that you can put away. So for businesses that are, more than a few employees, you're probably going to get a 401k. As a business owner, you can also have an IRA in addition to the 401k. If you're a very small business, you might want to consider a SEP IRA for your company. So in addition to that, after you put all that pre-tax money away, be aware you can put after-tax money away as well. So you could put up to $203,000, depending on what your income is, you could put after-tax contributions into a Roth IRA. That means that it's already been taxed, but whatever growth it has in the future doesn't get taxed. Same thing for 529 plans. You can take an after-tax contribution, put it into a 529 account, and by the way, you can do this for yourself or all of your employees. It grows without tax, and you can take it out without any tax, any penalties, as long as the funds in your 529 plan are used for higher education, or for private school tuition, or for religious school tuition as well. So it's a great benefit to provide to your employees so they can be putting money away after tax, particularly for their kids or their grandkids or their nieces and nephews, if that is what they want to do. So those are some big benefits. So just bear in mind, besides healthcare and retirement, there's been some changes made to that. You want to make sure you're offering those to attract the best employees possible. Which brings me to the next required benefit of 2021 and in the future. It's work from home. I mean, can we all admit that the millennials were right? I mean, for years, they have been telling us that we should be more flexible, more independent. They wanted to, have on their own. They should be on the go. They can work from home. They can work from anywhere. And we're all like, no, that's not the case. Then COVID came, shut us all down. Everybody worked from home. And they worked. Everything was fine. The cloud is mostly secure. The technology was good. People got their jobs done. I'm not saying your work from home policy has got to include people working from home 100% of the time. But what I am saying is that you need to have a work from home policy in your business, particularly for those employees that are eligible for that. Make it such that they can spend 1 or 2 days a week from home. Make it such that there's got to be a trial period maybe for new employees. So maybe they don't like working from home, or maybe the supervisor finds they're more productive if they're working in the office. But you need to have a work from home policy. And by the way, when you have a work from home policy, you've got to make sure they are set up with the right technologies. So, Jotform has been nice enough to sponsor this presentation. It is only reasonable that I include this as part of this presentation. It's a workplace collaboration tool. It's extremely affordable. All of your data is in one workspace for the entire company. Everybody connects into it and can do all sorts of things. You can build online forms. You can have all sorts of word processing, spreadsheet applications, sharing of files, sharing of documents, communications, all within the same platform. It provides you with a PDF editor, provides you with all the mobile forms that you can customize yourself, reports that you can generate out of it as well, and then basically a shared combined database. It's like a combination hybrid between spreadsheets and an actual database where you can do all that in one time. Super affordable, perfect for small businesses that don't want to spend too much money on an expensive office collaboration tool. Jotform, I have so many clients that use it to retain data, communicate, share information amongst each other, and has become a critical tool for people to use in this work from home or work from anywhere environment. So you got to make sure the right tools are in place to really make sure your work from anywhere, work from home policy is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay? More stuff. You need to have a mental health policy. Mental health is no longer a stigma. It has gotten a lot of attention. Just ask Naomi Osaka or Simone Biles. It is, a lot of people are recognizing that mental health is seriously an issue in this country. A lot of younger workers are well aware of that as well. There is a lot of stress that people are going through. There's a lot of things that people have on their mind. Before, employers didn't talk about it. Now we do. Not that you have to get into the personal or private history of your employees, but when that prospective employee says to you, I have potential issues, I have anxiety issues, I have depression issues, I have whatever, your responsibility, particularly as a potentially good employee, that's fine. We have these coverages that can help you. We offer these counseling services. We offer these coaching services. We do things internally like having free days off, or barbecues on Friday afternoons, or other things, sporting events, all to make sure we have a good work-life balance. What are you doing to maximize your employees' mental health? What benefits are you providing, and what culture do you have in your company? These are the questions that really smart business owners are asking this year, because they know they're the same questions that their employees and prospective employees are asking as well. There's unlimited paid time off. Now, don't yell at me about this, but let me just make the case for unlimited paid time off. For starters, it costs you less. Many employees, prospective employees, have been demanding unlimited. They love it. They love the concept. It gives them that flexibility and freedom and independence. That's all great. But as it turns out, the employees that have unlimited paid time off available to them, they tend to take anywhere from 14 to 17% less time off when they have this plan available compared to like a use it or lose it policy. In addition to that, if you have an employee and the employee leaves your company, multiple court cases have found that employers don't have to pay any unused vacation when you have an unlimited vacation plan. How do you even calculate that when you have an unlimited plan? So in the end, it kind of costs you less money. It's a great benefit to offer. And let me just give you some advice as to what my clients are doing to manage this. First of all, you don't offer it to everybody. You can have multiple PTO plans in your company, depending on the level that they are, or how long employees have spent with your company. Make them. Tell them, listen, you want to be participating in our PTO plan that's unlimited? Great, you need to be working for us for 2 years or 3 years. That's fine. But here's the other thing that I'm seeing, which is really smart. If you have an unlimited PTO plan, you tell your employees, sure, you can have unlimited PTO. However, your supervisor has to approve any time off that you take in advance. Because we can't have an employee showing up one day and saying, hey, dude, this has been a lot of fun. I'm going to take the next 6 months off and go surfing in New Zealand. that's really not going to cut it. So it really has to be approved by management before they take that time off. But if it's approved, hey, more power to them and let them do that. It is a great benefit to offer to your existing employees. And I'm telling you, you're searching for good employees for your business. What another great thing to offer to entice them to come and work for your company. Another great thing to offer, student debt assistance. We have an entire generation of younger workers that are buried under student debt. We have more and more companies stepping up to help them with their student debts just by making payments. Even this year, 2021, any payments up to $5,250 that you make towards a student debt payment, you can deduct the full amount per employee. That's part of one of the COVID stimulus packages. After that, you can only deduct the interest, although that's going to be addressed in some future legislation. For now, though, if you can help out an employee with their student debt, it goes a long way. Platforms like tuition.io help employers connect their payroll systems with the loan payment services and make it much easier to do. Finally, don't get upset here, big growth in a benefit called same-day pay. If you have hourly workers in your company, you might want to consider it if your cash flow can afford it. And here's how it works. You tell your employees, come and work for us. We will pay you 50% of what you've earned that day. We'll transfer it into your bank account. We'll give you a debit card, however you want to get the payments. At the end of our pay period, you'll get the other 50%. Now, it's a little complicated transaction, which is why you want to involve like a payroll service, like a Paychex or an ADP, Paycor. There's a bunch of them that will provide those services for you. But geez, again, if your cash flow can support that, think about that. You're trying to recruit an hourly worker to your business. You say to them, we offer same-day pay. Guy down the street's not offering that. Who do you think that hourly worker might want to come and work for? It's a great benefit and a hot benefit among many companies in 2021. I expect that to continue into 2022. And finally, let me ask you to leverage the government, right? There are a lot of governmental things that you need to be aware of. Number one, there is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. It was extended to 2025 thanks to one of the stimulus legislations. Use it as a hiring bonus. It's up to $9,600 per employee if you hire them either out of prison, out of the military, off of welfare, or if they have been unemployed for more than 6 months. Sound familiar? Before you reach out to that employee and give them the offer, call your accountant. Say, listen, thinking of hiring this person. We're going to pay them $40 grand a year. What's our work opportunity tax credit? Accountant does the math, comes back to you and says, hey, your work opportunity tax credit would be $5,000 for hiring them. Great. You call up that prospective employee, you say, come and work for us. We'll give you a hiring bonus of $3,000 if you're still around after 90 days. You're still $2,000 ahead. It's a tax credit against the taxes that you owe. So take that work opportunity tax credit, use it for all of your new hires, and use it to provide a hiring bonus to entice them to your company as opposed to your competitor down the street. The other big tax credit that you should be aware of is the employee retention tax credit. This is in existence through the end of the year. If you were partially shut down anytime in 2020 or 2021, if you were or fully shut down, partially meaning you had to send your employees home because of COVID, or if your revenues in any quarter of, say, 2021 were 20% below the same quarter in 2019, you're eligible for this credit. It's up to $7,000 per employee per quarter in 2021. It goes against your payroll taxes. And after it goes against your payroll taxes, if it exceeds what you owed in payroll taxes, you get the money back in cash. If you didn't take the credit in the past, go back and amend your past payroll tax returns, your 941s. Talk to your accountant about this. And also, talk to your accountant about the potential of skipping your Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness. Remember those PPP loans? If you don't apply for forgiveness, they stay outstanding for 5 years at 1% interest. It's like nothing. A lot of my clients are saying, you know what? Instead of taking those payroll dollars and applying for forgiveness under PPP, I'm going to take those same payroll dollars and use them to apply for the employee retention tax credit. You can't use them for both. And when that happens, I get cash back in my pocket now. I'll worry about the PPP loan 5 years from now. It's essentially free money. So the work opportunity tax credit, the employee retention tax credit, two big things that you should be on top of this year. Some other things from the government that you should be aware of, okay? If you help your employees with dependent care, you could pay them up to $5,000. You get a deduction, they don't get taxed on it. If you want to build out your own dependent care facility, you can get up to a $150,000 tax credit for building out your own dependent care facility. Maybe you want to share that with other employers in your local region. If you want to offer group life insurance, it's fully deductible, the cost of doing it. It's just that if you offer anything more than $50,000 to an employee, there's a benefit that has to be imputed on their W-2. But you get a deduction for offering group life insurance. If you want to pay for your employees' education, each employee, you can pay up to $5,250 for any education. It doesn't have to be job related at all. You get a deduction. They don't get taxed on that. Some more, if you want to help an employee with adoption, you can pay up to $13,570 and get help for an employee. You get a deduction. The employee doesn't get taxed. And if you want to offer a better sort of paid time off plan for your employees, just remember that if you give them time off under the Family and Medical Leave Act and you still pay them more than 50% of their salary, you can get a big tax credit for doing that as well. I just want to say when it comes to these deductions and these credits that I've just mentioned, you can do some, you can do them all. You don't have to do the full amount. You know, you don't have to pay $13,570 for adoption. You can say our policy is we'll pay $3,000. You don't have to pay $5,250 for education expenses. Maybe all you can afford to pay is $1,000 per employee, but something. You get the deduction for it. They don't get taxed on it. Man, what a great selling point. Come and join our company. If you ever have issues and you need to adopt, we'll help you with those adoption expenses. Hey, if you have like dependent care issues with older people or your kids, we'll reimburse you for some of it. It's not taxable to you. We're going to get a deduction for it. That's part of our benefits. The same thing with education. Leverage those tax benefits to enhance your own employee benefits. You can attract better employees to your business. Also, consider other benefit innovations that are out there. Amazon has bringing their dog to work. 6,000 dogs are registered on Amazon's workplace. Now, you need to have some rules about this because dogs sometimes fight with each other. But bringing pets to work, depending on the environment and culture, has proven to be a great therapeutic thing for a lot of employees and a really cool benefit to consider. Yahoo, on the topic of pets, they pay for pet insurance. Doesn't cost that much. Kind of a cool benefit to offer. Might be a unique thing for you. ZocDocs, which is like a document management platform, they offer an unsick day. So whatever their PTO that they offer their employees, they say, listen, you can take 1 day a year off, 4 hours, 2 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is. You don't even have to be sick as long as you're going to go and get a health checkup. So take the day, go and see your dentist, go see your doctor, go see your cardiologist, whatever it is for a checkup, and we will give you an unsick day off to do just that. Accenture, the big consulting firm as well, they let their employees take whatever unused vacation and either transfer it to other employees or donate the value, the cash value of that to charities. Want some more? Okay. Adobe, they donate every $250 for every 10 hours volunteered to an improved charity. Again, you don't have to do $250. It could be, you can make it $25 if you want to, but it's kind of a cool benefit to consider. Genentech, they're a biotech firm in Silicon Valley. They've got car wash coming on site, haircut, barbers coming on site, dentists coming on site. These are all things to help keep employees on the job, but also just make their day easier because they're not running around doing all of those errors. Power Reviews is a web review site. We talked about mental health. They provide a benefit of sleep consultants that meet with the employees that want to learn how to get better sleep or to solve potential insomnia issues. And the Motley Fool research site, they allow employees the use of all their mailroom services to do that. These are all just little perks and things that employers are offering, okay? So let's just, again, we'll recap what we've learned and I'll start wrapping things up. Got to be in compliance with the president's new vaccination rules. Minimum wage overtime costs are going to be going up. New regulations on independent contractors, unions, workplace safety. You got to have your strategies for making sure you're addressing all of that. When it comes to looking for employees, referrals, schools, faith-based organizations, these are some of the more popular places that you can remember. It's not just one silver bullet, it's always a combination of a bunch of things. New recruiting tools will help automate interviews, testing, background checking. Hot benefits in 2021, they include healthcare, retirement, work from home, paid time off, same-day pay. These are all the things that employers are considering. And finally, a good way to avoid hiring, to afford your hiring bonuses and employee benefits, leverage those deductions and tax credits that I mentioned. The government is giving us a lot of incentives to help pay for good benefits, including hiring benefits. That's the work opportunity tax credit that you want to be aware of. And finally, some employers are offering pet insurance, unsick days off, vacation donations. These are among some of the innovative benefits that they are offering. Just a few other things, and then we'll wrap things up. HR technologies. These are some platforms, technology services that I think that you should be aware of because I'm seeing them being used by a lot of companies around the country. And so let me make sure that you're familiar with them. I like Hello Wallet. There's a slate of financial advisory applications. They're very affordable. Companies allow their employees to use them to keep their financial situation under wraps. Helps better find more in the bank for the employees, the happier the employees are. Same thing with health maintenance apps like ShapeUp. Same thing with discount cards. Great service called Card Cash has discount gift cards. You can buy a bunch of them, like discount cards to the Outback Steakhouse, for example. You buy it for $75. It's a $100 card. People sell these things at discounts, and then you can offer them up to employees as like a little bit of a benefit. Very is just one example of a bunch of companies that are providing online, connected vending machines that offer both healthy stuff and the good stuff like Snickers bars and Doritos, but then automatically reorder and then donate proceeds to charities or to your own bank account. MDVIP is a popular service among many of my clients. It's a concierge medical service. It's over and above the healthcare premiums that you're paying, but it gives you a doctor on demand for those executives maybe or senior managers that have earned it. Bonusly is a really cool team building app. There's a bunch of team building apps out there that help employees. This one, you award points to each other. It's like the Harry Potter of applications. It's like, wow, great job on that project, James. 10 points for Gryffindor, right? Everybody awards points back and forth to each other, and they get the benefit from that. Maybe they get a gift card from Card Cash at the end of what they're doing. And then, of course, there's HR platforms, and there are a number of them that are out there. Some of the more popular ones, Paychex, Bamboo, Zenefits, and Gusto. You're looking for employees. You want to look like you're a business operating not in the 19th century. These HR platforms, very affordable. Mobile apps are provided for all of your employees. They connect into your payroll system. Your employees can look up their pay history. They can put in for vacation. They can put in for time off or sick time. It even, you can fill out forms and all that, but it does performance reviews as well. So people can take notes, get monitored, have workflows and alerts and reminders for when the next performance review is coming up. HR platforms have been exploding in popularity over the last few years, and these are just some of the ones that you might want to consider. Okay, so we'll wrap things up. Again, prepare for the COVID, the COVID vaccination plan. Prepare for higher costs and some of the strategies we talked about. Get an HR consultant in. Bring in your insurance company to take a look at your safety in your business. Reevaluate your overtime workers. If you're looking for people, ask your employees first. Faith-based organizations, professional groups, industry organizations. These are all different places that have people that could give you a good lead for a good employee. If you're looking to recruit, leverage those AR tools, HireVue, some of the other ones that I mentioned. There's great online testing tools as well as background checking tools as well. You got to leverage the technology to help your recruiting process go faster and more productively. When you're offering benefits, you really got to be competitive. Healthcare, retirement, work from home, mental health, unlimited paid time off, same-day pay, super popular benefits that you need to be offering. Also leverage those tax credits and deductions that the government is offering. Some other benefits and some perks that employers like to offer, some of the bigger ones, but you can offer a variation for yourself, allowing pets to come into work, buying pet insurance, having unsick days. These are some of the things. Having a car repair or car wash service come on site. relatively inexpensive, but they go a long way for employee gratitude. And we talked about some of the hot HR technologies that are out there. There are platforms like Zenefits and Gusto and Paychecks, health management, cash management, team building apps. All of those help your employees have a better experience while they are at work. And again, I mentioned the HR platforms. Consider them very much so, not only because it looks good, because your employees are willing to do the stuff on their own mobile, they get information right away, but it increases productivity in a big way as well. All right, so first of all, thank you so much to Jotform for sponsoring this presentation. Just remember, you've got so many of your employees working from home. They need a good workplace collaboration tool to use, and Jotform is super affordable, super easy to use, and very popular among a lot of my clients and readers. If you would like a copy of this, or even if you'd like a free copy of my book that's available on Amazon for like 12 bucks, I'll give you an ebook for free. Feel free to email me, gene@marksgroup.net, or reach out to me on Twitter, and I'll be sure to send it over to you. So guys, thank you very much for paying attention to all this. I hope it helps you find and recruit and pay and keep your employees happy in your company, because as we all know, your employees are your #1 asset. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.